someone asked them, "Are you happy?" I would be extremely nervous. Not everyone's answer that. I would be very nervous.
Ashley and I are so much alike, right? We're like looking in the mirror at each other, but like your back is to the mirror. So you don't see that's your ass in the mirror. That is still you. You're just not facing the mirror. Turn around.
Hey everyone, what's up? It's Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Okay, in this video, I wanted to talk about the latest episode of Seeking Sister Wife because I'm actually super surprised that we see the dissolution of the relationship between Tayler and Ashley and Dimitri Snowden play out on TV. Given the fact that it's highly speculated, I don't think there's been any confirmation by Vanessa or any of the other former sister wives, or the wives that have appeared on the show anyways, that they did in fact sign an NDA, but it's long been speculated that they have, and that is why Vanessa was incredibly silent regarding their breakup. So I thought that this was just so fascinating, especially given everything that has been coming out in recent weeks. As far as I know, there's a former sister wife that was with them prior to them being cast on the show that came forward. She's done several interviews. Her name is Ari. She has come forward and done many interviews on different platforms, giving her side of the story. And really her description of what life was like with the Snowdens really matches up with what Crystalline alleges. I just have a lot of thoughts about what we saw in this last episode, and how much they had to restrain themselves because they knew they were being filming. And by them, I mean Ashley and Dimitri. So let's just jump right into it. One of the things I found really interesting in this episode was that Dimitri talks about how much his business has suffered because of the economic impact of the pandemic.
Everything started to change. My business changed. I had to change how I was doing business. And quite frankly, everything kind of ground to a halt.
The economy is shot. Businesses are closed. My clients have already said we're done. You know what I mean? We have no money and we're in a pandemic.
Now, there has been a lot of speculation as to what exactly does Dimitri do. He's like an engineer of some sort. Is everything he's doing above board? There's also been rumors and speculation and claims by former sister wives that he actually takes money from them. So how much is he really providing if he doesn't want them to work? But anyways, I'm going to put up here, he was actually involved in a lawsuit. And what I find interesting is that they move around so much. They've lived, I think, in Pennsylvania. They've lived in Georgia. They live in California. I think they've lived in a couple other states. And I think it's, to me, like something that like pops into my head is one of the reasons why I feel like they might move around a lot is if he is creating companies and those companies are getting like terrible reviews on the Better Business Bureau or being involved in lawsuits. I know that like those ratings can follow you from state to state, but you guys, if you followed me for a while, you know that we had a horrendous experience with our moving company when we moved from California to Florida. And what I discovered in like researching that industry is a lot of times they just, once you reach a certain amount of complaints, they shut the business down and just start up a new one. So there's really no like recourse or any sort of action that's taken. They're totally frauds and they don't care about the people that they're taking money from, much like it seems like Dimitri. So take a look at this. He was the co-founder of a charter school, it looks like, and I guess his company was supposed to supply equipment to this charter school, and it never manifested, and he ended up, they're suing him for $45,000. I don't know how that was resolved, but it speaks to a bigger picture that's being painted now of the Snowdens, Ashley and Dimitri, of just being scammers and fraudsters. So as we see this relationship break down on camera, well, they had to stop filming for several months due to the pandemic. And then when they resumed filming, Tayler was gone. She had left for 6 weeks. Much like what we saw with Vanessa, she left, said, I'm not coming back. And, you know, Vanessa ended up coming back to retrieve her belongings. Tayler was like, just ship me my stuff. Take a look at what Chrissy has to say about what has been going on since they've had to go to self-filming.
Everybody was kind of miserable. There's been a lot of tension in the house, specifically with Ashley and Tayler. They clash almost every single day. Tayler required a lot of attention, and Dimitri was always the one that she wanted the attention from. So Ashley didn't really get time with Dimitri. I didn't get time with Dimitri. It was all about her and what she wanted and what felt good for her.
I have said this from the beginning, and I don't know if I've talked about it on this channel, but Chrissy to me is very like pragmatic and very like PC. She's very stoic. That probably comes from her being a mom herself. She, you know, you just have to kind of get up when you don't really want to, right? Tayler seemed much more, oh, this is so fun. Like she's uninhibited, she's unattached, she's like not being held down by anything. And she was much more all about herself. That's the vibe I got when we saw their first initial reactions with the Snowdens. So to what I took away from Chrissy, and it really made me feel bad, is you can tell that Chrissy and Tayler were extremely close, and I think they still are in communication, because both Tayler and Vanessa have come out on social media in support of Chrissy in her request for her protective order. So I think that they still are very close. But with that being said, she did say that, you know, there was a tension relieved in the house. And I think that has largely to do with the fact that Ashley and Tayler are much more similar personality-wise, and there would never be an alpha female in the house that wasn't Ashley. Ashley was always gonna be number one. It was always gonna be Ashley and Dimitri and whoever else they brought into the relationship. One of the things that I have a huge problem with is Ari, the former sister wife that was with the Snowdens prior to them being cast on the show. She actually, and this was revealed in the several interviews that she has done, that she actually approached TLC and actually spoke with either lawyers or people in their legal department regarding the same allegations that Chrissy is now levying against the Snowdens, and that they said, oh, we're going to look into it and we're going to get back to you, and no one ever did. And so it was really upsetting for her to see that same pattern of behavior being portrayed on camera, like a total facade, a total act. Like they do not act like that behind closed doors. And you can see, a couple times in this last episode where you could tell that Dimitri and Ashley both had to like think before they spoke, or, had to like measure their reaction. And I felt like they weren't reacting genuinely because there were cameras rolling and they couldn't be their genuine selves. It's pretty interesting that the allegations being made by various former sister wives against the Snowdens are the same things. What they're accusing Dimitri of, what they're accusing Ashley of, it's the same things. And the patterns of these breakups seem to go much the same way, with basically these women fleeing. It's just wild to me. And with that being said, a couple people I've seen talk online about the fact that they think that possibly This situation and Chrissy filing a police report and requesting a protective order was the reason why this season was delayed a few weeks. If you guys remember, this was supposed to premiere late February, and it ended up premiering late March. And people were like, oh, and the speculation was that there was an issue with one of the families. For me, I never even thought that it could be the Snowdens. But so anyways, people were speculating, are they just going to pull the show? What's going to go on? And now they're showing the show. I don't know if it was like, oh my God, let's go back and edit this and actually show like the breakup. Maybe they weren't going to show that before. Who knows? But I do find it really, really interesting, and we'll see what happens going forward. A lot of people are still disgusted that they're even showing the Snowdens. I highly doubt that they'll bring them back for a subsequent season, but you never know. I mean, they haven't even canceled Counting On yet, so who am I to assign some sort of moral compass to the powers that be at TLC? I don't know. What did you guys think of this episode? I know a lot of us, including my husband, were highly disappointed that the Merrifields were not on this last episode. But let me know what you guys thought. What do you guys think about all this information that's coming out? All these women that are coming out, giving their experiences and producing receipts. Ari has produced like text messages that confirm that what she's claiming, Dimitri confirms in those text messages. So it's not looking good for the Snowdens. Anyways, you guys, let me know what you think. Leave a comment, like this video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Reality Squad, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Much love. Bye-bye.